What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, first of all, just want to say if you hear some loud booming thunder, that's the weather, and I can't control that. But yeah, here we are again. And honestly, more and more, I'm feeling like we've got DeBoer still. Like, between the lack of creativity up front, the passing around in the back, the lack of adaptability, it's all the same. And I don't know how many times I can keep pointing out the same problems before I'm just like, you know what, why am I even doing these reviews? Because I'm basically saying the same thing again and again and again. It doesn't matter the personnel, doesn't matter who's out there, doesn't matter what formation, like if there's even a formation that we go with. It's all the same. There's a lack of creativity in the box. Whenever we get up to the front, we have no movement. We have no sense of what we're doing. There's a lack of connectivity, so people aren't moving with each other. It's just one guy on the ball hoping to make something happen with a terrible cross or a bad pass in the middle that gets picked off. It's always how it ends, because there's nobody moving, nobody reacting off of each other, nobody playing little 1-2s. There's just nothing. It's so slow, it's so dull, it's so boring. Most of the time we have to go backwards, and we're back in our defense, and we're keeping possession back there. And then we go with one long ball. Maybe that works out. Most of the time it doesn't. And then we're back at us again. And defensively, no organization. Nobody's tracking runs. Nobody's closing down space. Nobody's stepping to with cover behind. It's just, okay, well, I'm close to this guy with the ball, so I'm going to step to him. And now he's past me. Well, I hope somebody's behind me. Nobody's behind me. Okay, well, I guess I'll just go chase him now and hope that I can get back in time. This is basic. Like, Hines has played. He's played before, right? That being said, DeBoer did too, and yet we still had the same issues under him. Like, what is it with these players turned coaches that don't have a sense for how to manage these players and get them to play how we need them to play? Because it looks awful. I've got the stats right here just to confirm. 22 shots for them, 9 for us. Now, granted, their shooting was terrible tonight. They only had 5 on target. But that's 30% possession, 22 shots. 70% possession, 9 shots. There's your problem. We have so much more possession, we don't do anything with it. That sounds familiar. I remember complaining about that under DeBoer last season. So what did we change? We got a new coach in. What did he do to change this? What did he do to fix this situation? Nothing. We're still where we were last season. We're boring, we're dull, and there's no creativity. And part of the problem is the players that we're bringing in are not working their butts off like they should be. Like, we don't, obviously, the gap in talent between Almiron and, Moreno, Mulraney, Lopez, Torres, like, the gap in talent is obvious. But still, you have players that, when they work, they look good, but they're not working enough. There's too many players that they work when they want to work. They push themselves when they want to push themselves. No, you should always be busting it. You should always be pushing yourself. Watching Bello as a ball is rolling across the top of the box, and he is closer than the attacker that's there, watching him stand there and go, okay, I guess I'll try, and not get to it in time because he didn't really try for it. And then, 5-10 seconds later, we're breaking out, and he's sprinting down the field. No, you got to do both sides of it. You got to work defensively, and you got to work in the attack. But too many players are doing one or the other, and even when they're working in the attack, most of the time they're working the attack is, I'm going to sprint down the field really fast, and now I'm at the last defender, and I'll wait here. All right, hey, I'm ready. Whenever you want to send me the ball, I'm ready for it. I know I'm just standing here. I know it looks like I'm on my heels and I'm not ready to go, but I promise if you send that ball to me, oh crap, the defender beat me to it. You should have let me know. You should have played it when I wanted you to play it. It's high school ball, honestly. I coached enough high school ball to know. This is just high school ball. It's just stupidity. And the problem is, some of these players should not be this dumb. To play professionally, you should not be this dumb. And yet they're playing dumb. They're playing stupid. And I can't stand watching it. This is why I fell off the wagon last season, because it was awful to watch. It wasn't good. And we're back there again with a different coach. So what was the change? What is Heinze bringing in that's supposed to get me excited? What are these new players that we brought in? What are they doing to get me excited? Right now, nothing. Nothing is getting me excited about this team. And it's disappointing. Because, again, we did look pretty exciting the first few games. But after Chicago, it's like the teams that we played after that watched us like, oh, I mean, this is going to be easy to play against. You just have to do this. You just have to put high pressure. And you just have to make sure, don't sit too high and let them get them behind you. Yeah, this is going to be easy. And I guess Chicago really is just that bad because we're seeing it every single game. Like, every team we faced since Chicago has basically taken the game to us, and we've been powerless to stop it because we just have no defense. So I don't know. Obviously, Heinze, he still has time. It's not like they're going to fire him after a short amount of games, even though, honestly, after what we saw under DeBoer and what I'm already seeing this season, I'm already thinking to myself, do we really want to end up with another DeBoer situation where it's like, oh, we can't fire him yet. We can't fire him yet. We can't. You know what? We're kind of screwed now. I guess we'll fire him and put him in interim coach. Oh, we didn't even make playoffs. Darn. I'm sorry. Us not making playoffs is the bottom of the barrel for us. Like, that is the worst of the worst. So what did we do to make sure that wouldn't happen again? We got a new coach. We got new players. But what are we doing to make sure that won't happen again? Changing the personnel doesn't mean a thing. You got to change up the tactics. You got to change up the style of play. You got to change up formation. You got to change up the work ethic. You got to bring in players that want to do the work, that want to bust it. Because I'll say this. Philadelphia, not the greatest team I've ever seen, but they work hard. They got players that want to run, that want to bust their butts. They'll close down as a team. They work together as a team. They don't really have any superstars out there. None of the guys out there, I'm just like, man, he's good. I'm just watching them like, well, they got some athletes and they're working together as a team. That's why they're putting it to us. Whereas we do have some fantastic players, but we're not doing anything with it because we're not working as a team. We're all working as individuals. And as was shown in the Champions League this season, some of the best players in the world are not in the finals or even in the semis, some of them, because they're just one guy. You could be Messi, you could be Ronaldo, you could be Mbappe, you could be Neymar, you could be Haaland. All those guys are now out of the tournament because they're just one person. You've got to be playing well as a team. You got to be working together as a team. It can't be individuals. So there's my long rant about Heinze and the way we're playing right now. It's awful. And again, I said it when against the New England, or was it the first Philadelphia game or was it against New England? I don't remember which review I said it, but I don't want to spend 2 hours in a stadium having to wear a mask to watch this. Like, this is not exciting. This is not something that I'm like, yeah, I want to spend money. I want to have to wear a mask for 2 hours straight to watch this. This is not going to get me into the stadium. So they got to change soon, or else it's really going to be embarrassing whenever, especially as we're slowly, getting the stadium fully reopened. I guarantee you the numbers are going to start dropping if we don't start actually putting together some good performances, making it exciting. There are going to be some fans that are like, why are we watching this? This is boring. We're a terrible team. Why are we coming to this stadium? Like, this is dumb. So, anyways, individuals, I'll touch on that real quick. Guzan, didn't really have a whole lot of saves because a lot of their chances, obviously, like I said, 22 shots, 5 on target. They didn't get a whole lot of chances on target, but he made a couple decent saves, but his passing tonight was pretty poor. Started off bad, got better, but, whenever he's kind of the one that's been our kind of focal point, we drop it back to him and he finds a pass to kind of open up the play a little bit. Whenever your first 3 or 4 passes are misplaced, that's not a good sign. But like I said, it did get better as the game went on, but he can't really be having those mistakes because then we're putting ourselves under more pressure. Walks. The goal obviously was all his mistake. And of course, it's not just on him. You look at all the other players that didn't track back, so it made it like a 3v3 situation. But of course, it's his slip that misses it. which, I mean, he's made a couple of those slips and given up some goals. So it's not the first time, and he's not exactly doing much else to cover himself in glory. Like, there are so many moments where I'm watching him and he's losing track of his man, or he's getting beat in the air. He's not putting enough pressure on. He's diving in. It's got to be better. And again, like I've been saying about Franco, he's not good enough either. So Walks and Franco are not good enough. Robinson is, but he needs more help in there. And Sosa dropping in doesn't really help out that much. He needs another defender back there that's going to be reading the game with him, that's going to be working alongside him, not Walks, who's just kind of off doing his own thing and diving in, or Franco, who's too slow to keep up with his shadow. Like, it's got to be better. We needed more defenders, honestly. Because I'm looking at who our center backs are, and I'm looking at who our fullbacks are. We don't have a good defense this season. Like, when Robinson's basically our only defender. Everybody else is not good enough. They've shown that they're not good enough. Could they get better? Maybe. But so far, they've not shown me enough to convince me we're good defensively. But yeah, Robinson, obviously, I mean, he did everything he could today to keep him out. I mean, he works hard. He's a great defender. And honestly, probably deserves better than the MLS. Like, he probably should be playing in a better league. But, he's here for now, so we'll take him while we can have him, because he definitely saves the game for us more often than not. It could have easily been probably 5-1 tonight, if not for Robinson. I guess I'll talk about Lennon. Here's one more thing about Heinze that I'm trying to understand his philosophy and why he's doing these things, because Lennon is a good example of it. There are certain players in the MLS that if you put them in different positions, they're not going to do well. If you go to these other leagues, sometimes you'll see players playing out of position, but they still do their jobs well enough. They might look a little uncomfortable, they might look a little out of position sometimes, but for the most part, they still do their jobs well enough. But there are certain players in the MLS that you can't play anywhere else. Because if you take them out of their best position, they're going to struggle because they're not good enough. Like, the gap in talent, it's obvious when you move a player out of position. With Gressel, whenever he was playing right wing back, he was phenomenal because that's where he operated. He had plenty of space, he could whip in a good cross, but if you moved him anywhere else, I mean, he'd still work hard. He'd still give you as much as he got, but unfortunately he didn't have that much talent. So you could only really play him out wide on the right, because that's where he operated best. So we have 4 of those players at least this season. Lennon, Mulroney, Moreno, and I'm trying to... It's between Bello and I would say Ibarra. Like, honestly, most of these players you could say are like that, but Lennon's a good example. He's a hard worker. He most of the time defends decently enough. Sometimes his positioning can be a little weird, but defensively, if he's in a one-on-one situation, he's got enough pace and he's strong enough to where he can hold his own for the most part. Attacking, terrible. His crosses most of the time either short or long. Rarely does it find a target. It does occasionally. I'm not saying it never does, but rarely does it. His touch on the ball, not good. We've seen him miss several passes right to him. It rolls right up under his foot, or it's a bad touch. He's put under pressure. Dribbling, I mean, he can barely beat one defender, and most of the time he doesn't beat them. He loses it. So why is he the furthest one forward? Why is he pushed up into the attack? Why is he pushed up into the center of the field on the attack? Why is he playing striker? That's not his best position. So why is he playing there? Because not only now have you taken him and put him up in the attack where he's not effective, now he's not even in defense where he is more effective. And there's so many times where I'm thinking, where's our right back? Oh, that's right, he was just playing striker on the last attack. So him, Mulroney, you keep moving him out on the right where he doesn't have a right foot. So his only option is to cut inside. Players have already figured that out. They cut that off. All he can do is go down the line. Well, guess what? He doesn't have a right foot. So his passes, he never passes with his right foot. Dribbling, he's dribbling on his right foot. It's not good enough. They easily pick it off of him. So why is he playing on the right? Moreno, his best position is going to be out on the right. because he has a good right foot and he's good in one-on-one situations. He's good at receiving, taking on one man, and then getting a cross in. That's what he did well in the Chicago game. Honestly, Mulraney and Moreno. Left side Mulraney, right side Moreno in the second half. And look how many chances we created because of that. But since then, swapped them. And it's not worked in a game. And when the other funny thing about it, there were moments whenever Lennon was further forward than Mulraney. I'm thinking, okay, so you've got your attacking, more wing player playing more deep, and you've got your more defensive fullback playing further forward. You don't see the problem there? You don't see why that's an issue? So yeah, I mean, Lennon, I'll say he was out of position most of the time, and I'm assuming that was a coach thing, because if not, then he probably wouldn't have been up there for long. You know, Heinze would have moved him back. Either that or he would have subbed him off because he's like, you're not doing what I want you to do. So more likely that's a coach instruction, and that's dumb. But in the coach's defense, he should be working harder. Like, there's so many moments whenever their attack ends and I see him just jogging into the box as the attack is ending. I'm like, I know you have more pace than that. I know you can work harder than that. I've seen you work harder than that. Why are you just now getting back? They've been on the attack for the past, 30 seconds, and you're just now getting back into the box. It doesn't take you 30 seconds to get from their half of the field into our box. And if it does, then obviously I've misjudged your pace. So it's kind of a double-sided sword here where you got the coach putting him in the wrong position, but also he's not working hard enough. So overall, he had a terrible game. So I'm basically in a nutshell. Bello on the left side, again, he was the one I called out earlier, and yeah, I get so frustrated watching him kind of plod back to defend like he doesn't have any pace, and then whenever we're breaking out, he's streaking down the line like he's Usain Bolt. No, you should not be running faster on the attack than you are on defense, especially when you're a defender. That's a terrible mindset to have. And for a young player too, you need to cut that mindset out quickly. Like, as a coach, you should be stepping in and saying, hey, no. No. You're not going to be working harder for us on the attack than you are in defense. Because we need you more on defense right now. And it's not just him. There's a lot of players that are doing that, which is why we're so open defensively. But he's really should be the last one, since he's supposed to be our left fullback, wing back in some situations. Again, some of it is weird because he's sometimes pushed more inside. Sometimes he's pushed further down the field than he should be. I don't know how much Heinze wants him moving around the field, but defensively there are too many moments where he's getting beat because he's not ready for it, or he's just kind of trotting back instead of sprinting back to get behind his man. So both of the fullbacks tonight really killed us. They didn't help us out much on the attack. Bello, as good as he can be on the ball tonight, didn't show it. Too many moments where he's giving it away cheaply or he's not strong enough to hold it up. So, yeah, both of them played terribly. Sosa had a roller coaster of a match. Sometimes he was playing fantastically. He was putting in good challenges. He was winning the ball out of the air. He was moving the ball around, pinging it around the field. And then sometimes he was getting beat too easily. Sometimes he's getting run past and he's too slow to keep up. Sometimes his passes are right to the other team. So, yeah, it was very much just, oh, that was awesome, that was terrible. That was awesome, that was terrible. That was great ball, that was awful ball. And you can't be doing that, especially when we're so open defensively. Those giveaways, those careless giveaways, or those diving in moments where you leave us exposed, it's going to lead to goals against teams that can actually finish. And Philadelphia didn't tonight, thankfully. So, yeah, up and down game for him. Hyndman, again, I still don't know what his role is, so I don't know if he played decent or if he was terrible tonight, because there were some moments where I feel like, okay, he's doing the box-to-box thing well enough, but then there's some times where I'm feeling like, okay, so is he box-to-box? Because now it's not looking like he is. Now it's looking like they want him to be a bit deeper and not really get up in the attack and help out. So I don't know. I wish I knew what his role was, but it's kind of like sometimes he turns on, sometimes he turns off. And those moments when he turns off, it's very apparent when he does, because we kind of lose out in the midfield way too easily. So I want a bit more from him, and I wish Heinze would give him a bit more instruction as well. Anyways, I don't know who I want to talk about first. I guess I'll talk about Lopez first, because he'll be the easiest one to talk about because honestly, he didn't do anything. First half, I remember a couple runs from him. Second half, I think he touched the ball 3 times. And, yeah, you're supposed to be not necessarily replacing Barco, but you're coming in for Barco who's injured, so you should be the one trying to affect the play. And most of the time, I'm sitting here, like, I just remembered there were a couple times throughout the second half, I'm like, where's Lopez? I haven't seen him for the past 10 minutes. Where is he? He's not working back. He's not helping to win the ball back, but he's also not getting on the ball and making anything happen. Where's Lopez? Too many times. At least Mulroney, I remember him playing. Unfortunately, it's not good reason why I remember him, but at least he's getting involved. You know, he's wanting to get on the ball. He's looking to get on the ball. He's working back to get on the ball. I can give him that. Even if everything he did on the ball tonight was awful, I can remember him because he was on the ball a lot. Lopez was never on the ball, and he was also never working back to help out. He wasn't really making runs that are dangerous. You know, I go into Chelsea, and obviously if you're more of an Atlanta United fan, not really a soccer fan, you won't know what I'm talking about. But Timo Werner, even if he's not on the ball a lot, even if he's not really in possession, even if his shots are terrible misses, what I do remember seeing from Werner is great runs in behind that's drawing defenders, or now they're having to keep track of him. He's making runs that are open up spaces for other people. Lopez wasn't even doing that, because if he did, I would remember that run. I would have remembered him making that run and drawing a defender, but I didn't see any of that. He was just standing most of the time on the opposite side of the field from where the ball was. And we needed more than that tonight. We were looking to score. We're down 3 goals from the first leg. We needed to score, and it felt like I was expecting to see more from him, because he's gotten some just few, like, couple minute appearances here and there. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is a good chance for you to show what you can do. You know, Barco's out injured. This is your chance to say, hey, I want to fight for that spot too. And he didn't. It felt like he was just like, maybe another night. No, this was the night to do it. We needed somebody to just grab the game by the scruff of the neck and say, all right, this is our game. Because nobody else on our team was. Mulroney was trying to, but he's not good enough to. So, yeah, it was just awful from him tonight. Just nothing from him. Mulroney, obviously, kind of already picked up on how I felt about his performance. But yeah, just on the ball, was not good enough tonight. And it's funny because, again, kind of the same sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so tired. Words are not coming to me tonight. The same, like, schedule? No. Routine. There we go. The same routine in his last season. First couple games was like, all right, Mulroney's come to play. He's moving the ball quickly. He's in and out of defense. Sure, he's taking a little too long on the ball sometimes, but you know what? He's working hard, and he's showing his creativity. And the next thing I know, I'm like, God, I just don't want to see Mulroney ever again. I mean, did any of his passes or crosses come off tonight? Was there anything he did on the ball that was effective tonight? Because if so, I'd love to see. Because it certainly didn't feel that way. It certainly felt like every single time he was on the ball, he's either passing backwards, or he's losing possession, or he's crossing to the keeper, or he's trying to dribble and just dribbling into nowhere, which then forces him to go backwards. So, yeah, just nothing from him. Just abysmal performance. And again, following that same routine as last year, I don't want to see him on the field for us again. So I don't know what it is. I don't know why he did the same thing last year, but whatever the case, he's going to have to figure something out, because that was terrible. Moreno, again, very similar to Sosa, kind of a roller coaster, because there were a couple moments where he was doing some good stuff. He was energetic. He's creating fouls for us, basically, because he's looking to win the ball, and he's looking to either turn and go, or he's looking to take the hit and basically relieve the pressure on us, let us get up the field. There were some moments where he was working hard and it looked good, but then there were also a lot of times where he kind of faded out, or, you know, his passes in the final third were just kind of hopeful balls that weren't really to anybody. Now, some of them could have been good if they were on the same page, but you can tell nobody's really on the same page. So a lot of his passes were just to the keeper. So I just expect to see a little bit more in the final third from him. So it's just kind of disappointing there. And then Joseph, also kind of a nothing night from him. Just not even a shadow of his former self. Like he's just a cone right now. So if that doesn't improve, I mean, we're in for a rough season because right now everybody around him is looking pretty average MLS players. So without him as the fantastic striker that he can be, we've got just a full front line of very average MLS players, which equals we're going to be bottom of the table. We're close to it. We'll probably be above Minnesota because they seem even worse than we are. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I mean, without Martinez firing at 100%, without Barco on there tonight, I mean, you could just tell we lacked so much creativity. So he's got to figure out what's going on with him. He's got to figure out how to get back to 3 seasons ago, that form that he was in. He's got to get it back because, again, without him, we are just not good. So it's frustrating. Torres came on, the only sub that I'm pretty sure, unless he made a sub when I wasn't watching. Yeah, the only sub. So that was the other thing. He only made 1 sub. Now, I'm looking at the bench, I'm thinking, okay, none of those people really help us. I mean, maybe Ibarra for some legs, but yeah, Campbell, Ambrose, Conway, Franco, none of those are really going to help us. So I guess if you're going to make, subbing Torres is really your only option. But he came on and just, brought some fresh legs, worked hard, but God, his touch is terrible. There are just so many moments where in the New England game and the little bit of time he played for this one, there are just moments where I'm thinking, you got to have a better touch than that. Like, cross comes right into his feet, and his touch skids off the bottom of his heel and goes up under him to the defender. It's like, how? You're a professional player. How do you miss the ball? As a striker, too, in the box with no pressure on you. How do you miss the ball? It was bad. It was pretty bad. So I don't know. I don't know where Lopez is. I don't know if he's out injured, but God, at least Lopez looks like he can take a touch. He's not fast, and his work rate doesn't look as high as Torres, but Torres looks like he can't even get a touch on the ball. So I'd much rather take a striker who can touch the ball in the box than a striker who's going to work hard and miss every shot that he has. So it just, I mean, like I said, I went on my rant. That's how I feel. And obviously some people are going to be like, no, it's still early days. You gotta give him time. It's going to get better. You just got to give it time. I mean, you can believe that if you want to. And I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying I hope it doesn't happen. I really hope it does. I hope it gets better because I liked having an MLS team that's local that I could go to their games and have fun and enjoy myself because I'm watching fun soccer. Like, that was fun and it was exciting. So now that we have an MLS team here that is terrible, I'm just kind of like, no, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch terrible soccer. I still want to be a fan because it's my hometown team, but it's hard to be a fan whenever it doesn't look like they want to get better. It doesn't look like they want to improve the team. They won the championship, and then since then it's just kind of been like, yeah, we'll settle for mediocrity. We'll settle for these average players coming in. We'll settle for your Brooks Lennons. We'll settle for your George Bellows. We'll settle for your Anton Walks. Like, no. We should be pushing to get better. We should be pushing to not only improve ourselves, but also bring the standard of the league higher. Force the other teams to say, oh, I mean, Atlanta's just taking it up a notch. We got to take our style up a notch. But instead, we just drop down below average in the MLS, and we're kind of stuck in this average hole. We're just kind of like, I mean, the performances aren't the worst thing I've ever seen from us, because I have seen worse, unfortunately. But they're not good enough. They're just bland. So I might be alone in that. I probably am not. I know there are a lot of people that probably are disappointed and want to see more. So I just hope it's enough to where the fan base can say, hey, board, people in charge, whoever it is, this is not good enough. We want to see true improvement. Right now, what we're seeing is more of the same, more bland, more dull, more average. We don't want to be average. We wanted to be the best of the best. And ever since we were the best of the best, we've since then not been the best of the best. So, anyways, with all that being said, those are my thoughts on the game. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Atlantean Night reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.